this is the problem. Let's remove the problem. But it's not one big problem.
No.
It's 20 small ones. Welcome to the Soda Personal Training Podcast, the show for busy adults who want to upgrade their health and fitness without the nonsense. My name's Phil, one of your hosts. I'm joined here by Sean.
And I'm Sean, your other host. Hey, everybody.
All right, let's jump in, Sean. Today, we're going to talk about a widespread myth, which is that your metabolism is broken. This is a common thing that we hear in a lot of people. It seems like they're doing everything they can. They just can't get things fired up. So we're going to explore what metabolism actually is, debunk the common misconceptions, and dive into the factors that might be affecting their metabolic health. There'll be some discussion on hormones, physical activity, nutrition, and all the things we talk about here today are backed by research, and we've got some studies that we've lined up to help back things up.
I'm excited about this one because it's a very, very hard topic. Metabolism is a really, really complicated thing, even for those of us who like to try to simplify it. You know, those of us who are fitness coaches, trainers, we try to simplify metabolism. It's really, really complicated, and we're going to get into some of that complicated science, but we're also going to bring it back at the end to hopefully some really practical tips that you can use to, I'm not going to say to fix your broken metabolism, but some practical tips anyway. So let's dive in.
You know, and here's the preface for all this. We are a couple of middle-aged dudes in our 30s, and we are well aware that people listening to this sooner or later, perhaps years after, are going to say, what did these two bros, what in the hell do they know about my life and my metabolism? We fully understand that. So we want to be empathetic to the fact that at face value, this can be hard when it doesn't look like we know your playing field as well as you do. But that's why we're backing up with the science. There's nothing anecdotal here, not too many personal details, although we'll probably share a few of those as well.
The arrogance you have, Phil, to think that people are going to listen to this years from now. Like the people that listen to this years in the future. Is that how you say? Okay.
I sure hope so.
Freaking 100 million new videos and podcasts come out on all the internet every day. And you're like, people are going to listen to this one in 2045.
We'll get them hooked. I would love for them to look back once we get this. You know, this is only episode 3. So I'm having fun. I don't know. This is great. Sure. Yeah. Okay, let's jump into it. I think the first thing we want to talk about is what is metabolism?
I'm out. Can't do it.
That's it. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Right. So what is metabolism? I think commonly people will say, my metabolism I have a slow metabolism. But the understanding or understanding the concepts beyond that is really tricky for people because we ask, well, what does that mean? And I don't know. I just think I don't burn many calories throughout the day. And metabolism is very multifaceted. It is the accumulation of all of the chemical processes in our body. So it's a big picture item. But what we're talking about here is our basal metabolic rate is what a lot of people are talking about, or just how many calories they're burning throughout the day. Some lifestyle factors affect how many calories we burn, but this all gets to the idea of our total daily energy expenditure. I think that's what a lot of people are talking about when they say my metabolism feels slow.
And I think the big question that I would ask is like, okay, people hear this. Like if I'm a non-fitness fanatic, right, and I don't want the sciencey stuff, and I just want to know, like, okay, yeah, so what is it? Like, what is my metabolism? Or you ask that question of how do I burn more calories? Like, is that the right way to frame it? Is that the right way to talk about metabolism? Is like, how many calories am I burning? Like, yeah. Because obviously what we want to do is lose weight for the most part, right? We want to burn body fat, you know?
I think the reason we want to look at this from this very bird's eye view to start is people are coming in and they're like, I'm not burning enough calories because I'm not losing weight, or they're having a weight creep over time. And so a lot of times that's the confusion as well. My body just doesn't burn a lot of calories. So I'm not seeing the effect I want in exercise or elsewhere. So in this episode, we're going to talk a lot about how the controllable factors are likely I guess the challenge for most people, it's not your basal metabolic rate. That's actually just your genetics,
right, yep.
And how much lean muscle tissue you have.
Mm-hmm.
It's really the two biggest components.
Yeah, but yeah, so there's controllable factors, right? Like you do, I mean, it's almost kind of like, okay, is 50% of it these genetic factors and 50% of it these controllable factors? Like I know we can't have like a straight answer to that, but essentially that's what I want to hit home for people here is like, what can we control to boost our metabolism, if I can put it that way, or to unbreak it, you know?
Right. Yeah, exacay.
That's not a good way to put it, but the science dorks are going to crap all over that, but whatever.
Hopefully. Go on. So if we're talking about total daily energy expenditure, right, there's 4 buckets. First one is your basal metabolic rate, controlled by your genetics, like basically what you're born with. Largely, this is how much lean muscle tissue you have, which is part of genetics too. We can thank all of our parents for basically what we look like for the most part, at least the slate that we're given. And then you have exercise, which is the next biggest bucket of calories that gets burned throughout the day if we're exercising or not. Tied to that is the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is how much movement we get, how many calories we burn when we're not exercising. So taking the stairs, you know, those little things like parking at the end of the lot, the grocery store, just all the movement outside of things that we consider exercise. So a lot of times people group it in the one section because that's how many calories we're burning while we're moving. Okay. And then the third, go ahead.
Fourth bucket, sorry.
No, the fourth one is just the thermic effect of food, which is, are we eating more protein or carbs and fats? And what do those differences make? That's the smallest piece, but that is still a factor. Okay, so let me recap it. This is actually kind of from my understanding too, as well as the audience. So the 4 buckets, the 4 things that affect metabolism are basically like your genetics, the exercise that you do, the non-exercise activity, the other little ways you move your body, and then the 4th one is the thermic effect of food, which is an interesting one. Yep. Okay. And I would say lifestyle and our habits are that on the what they call NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. You could argue exercise in there too, and the thermic effect of food, because those are all things that we are electing to do or not do. But those are essentially the 4 big buckets. We look at how many calories we're burning, and then what is the number that we need to aim for from nutrition standpoint. And it also helps influence our fitness goals and things like that too. So once we get a better understanding of those things, then we can understand what is the true metabolism. Like how many are we actually burning? That's what this all comes back to. Yeah. How many calories do you burn per day total, and or how many calories would you need to eat to maintain your current body weight? Yes. Basically. Exactly. Okay. There's a million calculators for this. Like we use the precision nutrition one in here a lot, which asks some questions like what's your height, current weight, gender, lifestyle, like how sedentary are you at work? Those are all factors that help influence how much we're moving, and they answer all the questions of what's in those buckets, so to speak. Most people have such sedentary jobs that one is very, very low. We just don't move a lot. It's the plague of our American lifestyle is we wake up in the morning and we sit and have coffee and scroll on our phone. And then we stand up, walk to our car, drive to our car, go to work. We sit at work on the computer all day, get up for lunch, and then we go home, we sit and eat, and we sit and watch the show, and then we go to bed. So there's no movement. It feels like we're really busy, like in our head, and like we're doing things, but we're not actually moving. Right. We're not moving much. So that is a massive component. Would you say that for the average person who listens to this, the best thing that they can do for their metabolism and then for their body composition is just move more? Like, should we make it that simple? Like, park your car further away in the parking lot, take a 2-minute break every 30 minutes from work, go walk up down the stairs, do, I don't know, like stand up, walk around during your meetings. Like, is that the number one tip, or how do you frame it? I think that's definitely going to help. If you think about how many hours you have in your day, if you work out 1 hour twice a week, I think if you do the math on how many waking hours you have, it's like, it's literally like 1% of your existence. So what are we doing with the other 99% of our time? Yeah. Are we moving or are we not? Right? So it can have a massive effect if someone's doing nothing and now they are like, I'm going to walk 10 miles a day. Right? So the specificity there is tough because it can have a dramatic effect. I'm not sure it's the number one tip, but at face value, it could just be, yes, move more across a number of ways.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the biggest controllables we have, is whether it's a step goal or it's the workout goal. Those are all bundled into this. I'm choosing to move more.
Mm-hmm. Do you have an idea? And this, I'm going off. This is where Phil's got to keep me on topic on some of these episodes. But he didn't give me a specific outline today, so I get to kind of do what I want. He's got the outline.
I'm holding it.
So
ransom.
Do you have an idea? I'm going to put you on the spot here. Okay, let's say someone is getting 1,000 steps a day, a very low number. We don't know, but someone was very sedentary. Let's say they bump up to 10,000 steps a day. Like you always hear, fitness people like us get the 10,000 steps, right? Yep. Let's say they bump it up to 10,000 steps a day.
Yep.
How many more calories do you think that burns?
About a mile burns about 100 calories is kind of the standard. Yeah. Obviously, that's different. If we are heavier, we're carrying more weight on us, we're going to burn more calories because we're moving more of that. But that's generally the estimation is about 100 calories. So if we're moving, 1,000 steps or so versus 10,000, that could have a big difference. Mm-hmm. Now, I just misquoted myself. So there's how many feet in a mile?
5,280.
Right, something like that. So
how many
2
of you guys
miles,
like math?
It's 100 calories per mile. That
100,
was the
100 calories per
estimation.
mile. Okay.
So that's a much smaller effect.
Now we got to go and figure out your stride length. You look how much I deviated the podcast here. Phil's going to hate this.
No.
So now we got to figure out your stride length. See how many you get. 5,280 feet. So everybody measure your stride length and then go. I'm sorry. All right.
That's I'll have to be edited. Mm-hmm. So, but no, it's about 100 calories per mile, right? So that's basically like if you're moving 10,000 steps a day, you're burning about 200 calories. Mm-hmm. So does that seem like a lot? And the time commitment it takes?
No, but you just messed it up again because you're thinking 5,280 feet. A step is generally like a yard. Right. It's like 3 feet.
So I need to
see, I shouldn't ask Phil that question.
No. God, so usually in the way I've done this math is
you better not edit any of this.
It's about 10,000 steps is about 3 miles.
Okay.
About 3 miles.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to reel that back
300 calories?
It's about 300 calories.
Okay.
So you're walking 10,000 steps, about 300. If you're doing 1,000, okay, that's, 30 calories, 100 calories, call it, whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's not that much of a difference.
Okay. I mean, well, hold on, though. It is a difference. Like you're saying 300 calories a day is not that much of a difference. You know what I mean? 300 is a big deal. 300 calories per day. If you're in a 300 calorie deficit versus maintenance per day, you're going to lose probably 3 to 4 pounds of body fat per month. And per month doesn't sound like a lot, but add that up over 6 months, you just burn 20 pounds of body fat.
Yep.
Just by moving a little more during the day. So, and we're not even saying that this is necessarily the end all be all. We're not saying everybody needs to go out and get your step tracker on and do 2,000 steps after breakfast, 2,000 after lunch. It doesn't have to be exactly 10,000 steps every day, right?
Right.
We're just saying that this is, one of the buckets.
It's like the cumulative effect of these things. The total is larger than the sum of each part. Mm. This is the biggest thing I would like people to take home is, yes, walking can make a small difference, but it's the incremental and the added benefits of several different things all at once. It's some nutrition. It's some of those steps. It's your strength training 2 to 3 days a week. It's your sleep. These all things they're all interrelated and they'll help boost each other up.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think out of those buckets, I don't really honestly, I kind of want to wipe out buckets number 1 and 4 because number 1 is kind of like the genetic bucket. Okay. You can't do anything about it. Number 4 is the thermic effect of food. Right. And I think this is almost like a majoring in the minors thing. You like to talk about, you're going to worry about the thermic effect of food. If I eat protein, apparently that's going to make me burn more calories and I can eat food to burn calories somehow. And then celery is one of those negative ones that apparently if I eat a bunch of celery, then I burn more calories than I take in when I eat it because I have to chew so much and something like that. You know what I mean? The thermic effect of food is one that I'm just okay, yeah, it exists, but should I care about that?
Mm-hmm. Not that much.
Not really.
You should eat protein for other reasons before you're eating it to burn extra calories.
Yeah, don't eat protein for the thermic effect of food. No, eat protein for the protein. Eat protein for your muscles.
That's the major takeaway.
Yeah.
But approximately 20 or to 30% of protein gets the calories that come from protein get burned through its digestion and assimilation. Carbs is 5 to 10%, and fats are 0 to 5%. So like that's where it comes from, but that's still a pretty small amount. This might affect, 50 to 100, 150 calories a day at the very, very most, but it's negligible in terms of the big picture.
Yeah.
And so you should eat protein for all the other benefits.
Yeah. So like what I'm trying to get at is in terms of boosting the metabolism, which is what everybody needs, because regardless, if whoever's listening to this, whether this is an 18-year-old with a freaking roaring metabolism or, that 45, 50-year-old menopausal woman who's saying, hey, my metabolism seems broken, my hormones are way out of whack, whatever, like ultimately what we still need to do is give advice for how to boost the metabolism. Either way, like regardless of the stage of life. I mean, I don't know, I suppose maybe that 18-year-old kid just wants to build muscle and he's like,
probably,
I want a slower metabolism. That way I could get in a surplus and get jacked.
Yeah, he wants to be more anabolic.
He wants to be anabolic, right? But anyway, most people listen to this are going to be like, okay, I want to boost my metabolism.
Yep.
And so we're playing with buckets 2 and 3. It's like, okay, how can I either do better exercise that will supposedly boost my metabolism or do more of this neat stuff, this non-exercise activity thermogenesis, these little activities throughout the day that burn calories. Like that's it. That's all you got really. To try to boost the metabolism. Right.
It's really that simple. We want to exercise to burn some calories. That shouldn't be the first priority, in my opinion. And the reason strength training is going to have the most effect on these things is it can slightly increase your metabolism because muscles are like having a big engine in a car. So the more muscle you have, the bigger the engine, and it's going to burn more calories at rest. This is like the afterburn effect that some cardio places will tell you. It's like you're going to burn extra calories for the next 8 hours. One of the popular fitness franchises will promise that to you. Strength training does the exact same thing. Building muscle. Let me put it like this. Doing cardio is like paying rent on an apartment.
Oh, snap. Okay, I like where this is going.
Wow. And doing strength training is like you're paying off a mortgage of a home that you're going to have for years to come. That metaphor has been really helpful for people to understand, we are investing in our health and we're investing in the foundations. Cardio is kind of a quick return for high calorie burn. Not that much more than strength though. And strength will help continue to bolster and strengthen that foundation for years to come, including joint health and everything else. Like that's why it's, we're beating a dead horse. You got to strength train 2 to 3 days a week.
Look at you, though, catering to the financially responsible among us who understand it better in those terms. It doesn't apply to me because it is. Yeah. Like most people care more about their finances than their health, right? Like it doesn't apply to me because I'm a fitness nerd, so I like to think about it like in a fitnessy way, right? But most people are like, I like to do real estate. So like, that's a good one. Like, I'm going to steal that. And wow. Okay. And well, you go ahead and then I was going to say something.
I mean, that's great. I think that's the thing to hit home is of the controllable factors where you spend your time exercising should be there. You're going to burn close to the same amount of calories by strength training. So don't do cardio because it burns a few more calories and your elliptical says you burn this many calories. It's probably not accurate anyway. Or your Apple Watch or your Garmin, even your Polar Strap heart rate thing. Just, you should do it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Okay. And so this is actually, oh man, do I want to go down this rabbit hole? How are we doing on time? Well, okay. So the idea of strength training and building muscle to boost the metabolism, I think there's definitely a lot of value in it. Sometimes I think it's overblown by some of the meatheads online who will try to really simplify it and be like, just build muscle and you're going to burn 1,000 more calories every day. Well, the scientific studies will show it's really something like 6 calories per pound of muscle or something like that. Like it's not actually that big of a deal.
Right.
But I think that it's still an important message to deliver that strength training and attempting to build muscle as much as possible is good for your metabolism. Not only does it boost the metabolism just a little bit, like we're talking about, it boosts the metabolism, and it's probably the most like protective type of exercise you can do against just continuing to add body fat, because when you're sending a signal to the body that says, okay, I need to have muscle, I need to do this strength training, we need to build and preserve muscle, that's going to make it that way when you eat, the food is actually kind of more likely to go to muscle as opposed to body fat. If the body's saying, hey, we need muscle because Sean just made me lift these freaking 50-pound dumbbells here in the gym. And apparently I'm going to have to come back in again with him on Thursday and lift the 50-pounders, even the 55-pounders. Good right. Lord. My muscles are saying, hey, I got to freaking do that again. Yeah. So keep me and get rid of some body fat if you're going to get rid of anything. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. It makes crystal clear.
Okay. Crystal clear with the 50 to 55-pound dumbbells.
Our body does an amazing job at adapting to what we expose it to. It's a truly remarkable machine. It really is. It's not quite as fragile as a lot of us sometimes think. So,
well, Blake's is fragile.
Well, don't hurt his feelings.
We didn't. I skipped it at the beginning. We were supposed to talk to Coach Blake.
Did you skip
I was going to do it at the start, but then we blew it. I mean, is now an okay time? Or like, should we?
We'll see. I don't know.
We'll keep going and then I'll get it in.
We'll come back to it. It's what we're going to do. So yes, you need to, if we're talking about boosting metabolism, how is this for a boost? If you're not strength training at all or exercising, you burn 0 calories from dedicated exercise, and now you work out 3-4 days a week and you're burning 500, 600, 700 calories. How's that for a boost? Like, that's an enormous increase in the calories you are burning throughout the day, thus a higher metabolism. So there you go. And that's like a quick, you can do that in 60 minutes, you're in and out. That's a boost. So that is a choice, and we all can do that.
I think the main point we want to hammer home is everybody should be strength training. Everybody should be strength training. And then other than that, just try to keep your body moving in general. So lift some weights at least a few times a week. And other than that, just don't be a couch potato the whole rest of the day. The topic, and this is really getting into the weeds, but I know this hits home with some people. Topic I want to talk about is like, what do you do with that person? I know a lot of people like this who say, maybe they've even been like tracking and they're like, I'm eating 1,500 calories per day or maybe even less, and I can't lose weight.
Yeah.
I can't. My metabolism is either broken or it's very slow and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. As we're talking through this, all of the roads kind of point to that idea. Because it's a lot simpler to figure out, are you working out or not? And are you getting your steps in? And we can measure and assess BMR. There's a million ways to do it. And thermoeffective food is small. So if there's something still wrong, the thing that's probably not quite in sync is what then we're putting in to our body from a caloric standpoint.
Yeah.
This is most often the thing, because when people do end up tracking their food, we always see some pretty incredible differences in what was expected.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's some truth to that. I think there's some truth to the fact that even when people try to track their calories, they're off. Like, I know I do that. I know that I'm off, sometimes even like me as a fitness professional, I'll like estimate, I'm eating 2,500 calories or something like that. And it's like, no, you're actually off by 500 one way or the other. I know that all of us like make mistakes, but I also think, once again, I'm deviating from the plan here, but I also think that there is something that we have going on in our society that affects a lot of adults in the modern world, and especially in this country, which is, I don't know if it's because our hormones are really effed up because of the result of this lifestyle that we live, where there's tons of stress, there's lots of artificial food, there's lots of artificial light, there's not enough sleep, there's all of these factors combined to the body is almost in, I'll call it a high stress environment. That a high stress environment, for one, promotes body fat. It promotes maintaining body fat, and it does not promote a healthy amount of muscle mass. And part of me wonders how much of just it's modern society's fault, I guess I'll put it that way, that makes so many of us have a really low metabolism. Like, we can't burn body fat, for example, even no matter how low of calories we try to eat. I think that this is, once again, this is like another discussion for another day, but I think it's beyond sometimes even what we can do as fitness coaches. I don't know.
Yeah.
Threw a wrench in the plan.
No, that's all right. I think, just talking openly here, as far as this format goes, it's like I'm trying to kind of follow these bullet points.
And I'm effing everything up.
No, but I think it's just like too rigid because, you know, it's like I got all these actionable tasks. But you know what? It does bring up this idea of like, it is a big picture. And I think that's the kind of the struggle with this entire topic is it's a big question and it's so multifaceted that it's really hard to like localize on this is it. And that's what everyone wants. They want, this is the problem. Let's remove the problem. But it's not one big problem. No. It's 20 small ones.
Correct.
It's all the things you mentioned. It's this hormonal shift that's very correlated with that, I'm sure. Yeah. We know cortisol does to the body. As you said, it promotes adipose tissue retention. It's harder. It's so multifaceted.
Yeah. And obviously, like don't get me wrong, like it's harder for parents. It's harder for women in that menopausal age range and beyond. You know, like it's even harder then. Yeah. But then like it also affects, I mean, I don't know, dare I say all of us, you know, to a certain extent, just because of kind of the world that we're living in right now. And I think that, I don't know, I'm just a believer, just me personally, that especially in this country, that there are some real like systemic changes that we need to make. I mean, to the food supply, for one. That's probably the biggest one. That's the big elephant in the room, you know. Not to ramble too much down on that tangent, but I think that there are things that are bigger than me and you that we can help out with. But
exactly.
Yeah. So no solutions here, just shitty realities. Sorry, everybody. That's
exactly it. And so here's what I think this all comes back to. My metabolism's slow. What can I do? Let's increase some awareness. Let's ask a lot of these questions. How much am I sleeping? It comes back to these fundamental laws, rules, guides, if you will. How much am I sleeping?
Yep.
How much am I working out and moving my body? And what am I putting in my face hole?
My face hole. Jeez, Bill.
I don't
keep it all right,
no,
Bill.
That's not.
Go on.
Because if we have enough awareness and assessment over those things, we're going to be able to solve.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to.
I was going to say like pie hole, and then it turned into face, and then it came late. Good Lord. Well, there you go. So, okay.
The things that you can do to help your metabolism.
Yeah, that's right.
To boost it.
That's right. So I'm just going to give some self-assessment questions. Here are the things to ask yourself. Okay, we're talking about metabolism. What is approximately my BMR? You can have that tested. We have an in-body here. You can do that at the doctor. You can get a bod pod. Okay, that's one number you can have as a range.
Oh, God, hold on. I'm just ruining this whole thing for you, though. Like, I think the BMR, so BMR being basal metabolic rate, like, I think, gosh, even thinking about that, like, okay, I have no clue, like, what my basal metabolic rate is. I know roughly kind of how many calories I need to eat to maintain my body weight and then either to cut or to bulk, but
we should do it.
We should. Do you think I'm going to trust the BMR on that in-body thing? I trust the results it tells me based on body fat percentage and how much muscle mass I have.
Are you worried it's going to tell you that you're small?
But no, Phil. Come on. No, Phil the shrimp kid. No. I'm down to do it. Look, I do those like once a month when I'm clocked out, by the way, when I do it. Okay, I'm not clocked into work. I do a personal in-body like once a month. Okay, I'm not afraid of the in-body scan. Okay, good. What I'm saying is I don't trust what it tells me my basal metabolic rate is. I don't trust it tells me, well, based on your height and weight in this, you burn 2,200 calories a day. I'm like, no, I don't freaking lose 10 pounds a week on that. All right, now I'm just rambling about myself too much. But I don't like, here's my point. I don't like these like auto-generated metabolism calculators or BMR calculators. Like the only way we can really find out how many calories you're burning every day is if you track at least decently via an app like MyFitnessPal or what's the other macros first. I don't like the online calculators, the auto-generated calculators for that at all.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know. I just effed up your whole thing again.
Well, it's okay.
This one is really going in the toilet. I hope you guys are enjoying the episode.
It's wonderful. So that does make sense. And like these scales they use a bit more of the data that comes from that signal. Now, how accurate is it? I know it's wrong for me. So like to back up what you're saying, It's still not 100% accurate, but at least we're trying to assess it. I don't think it would hurt unless we're like basing things exclusively off that number. But my metabolism, if I'm trying to gain weight, I need to eat at least 4,000 calories a day. That's me anecdotally. Everyone hates, especially if they have a weight loss goal. They're like, it must be so hard. It actually is. I'm not that hungry. I don't want to eat that food. And I think you have a similar problem.
Yeah, it's the exact same problem. Yeah.
And the opposite is true for a lot of people. They are hungry all the time for XYZ, stress. Like there's a million factors.
Yeah.
But their goals call for less calories in a lot of cases.
If you're someone like who has like me or Phil's problem and you're like, I can't eat enough calories to gain weight, to gain muscle. This is the opposite problem that most of society has. You have to ask yourself, well, how did I get here? How did I get to the point where I'm burning so many calories? Well, like in our case, it's because, we lift a lot of weights and, we're moving our body throughout the day and stuff like that. Right. But I guess, okay, without deviating too far down that rabbit hole, I do still want to bring this back to what I call the 3 big rocks, the 3 big important things that everybody can do or that we should be trying to improve on that are going to help your metabolism and really every aspect of your health and fitness that we always like to talk about. And those are quite simply movement, nutrition, and sleep. Because if you do better in all of those 3 areas, your metabolism will be healthier and will be better, okay? Like the metabolism it adapts to a lot of different things. It's super complicated. I'm not going to claim to understand it all, but like it adapts to lots of different things. And if you start exercising a little bit better, doing some strength training, moving the body more, that's good for your health in a lot of ways. It's also going to be good for your metabolism. If you start eating better in general, more whole natural foods, make sure you're getting enough protein. Like those 2 simple tips are going to be really good for your metabolism. And then it's such a massive domino effect when you start doing these things. And then there's the sleep category as well, which most people really, really struggle with. Like most people's sleep sucks straight up. I'm sorry. Like I have to say it. Most people, especially in this country in 2025, most of us have terrible sleep. And most people have never even known what it feels like to get a good night of sleep 3 nights in a row.
Right.
Never even known. Okay.
Right.
You wake up with an alarm every day. And I did today. I woke up with an alarm today. Okay. I don't wake up with an alarm that often, but I did today. Yeah.
Oh
I don't know why. Maybe it's because I stayed up too late watching the freaking Vikings get their asses whooped last night. I don't know.
Did.
Anyway, but we wake up with an alarm all the time, right? At least most people do. We have these stupid blue light things in front of our eyes before we go to sleep every night. Yeah. We're drinking alcohol and eating whatever the heck food you eat until 11 p.m. every night. Like people know it, but they don't know how much better their life would be if they could start sleeping consistently better. Like if you just it doesn't even have to be 8 or 9, like all these, these books are going to tell you 9 hours of sleep. Nobody's going to get 9. Let's be realistic here. But like 7 hours of consistent sleep, the same time every night. You know what I mean? Go to bed at 10. I know for some of you that sounds impossible, especially on the weekends. You're like, Sean, I got a social life. You got to sacrifice your social life every now and then. Okay, but my point is 10 to 5, 11 to 6, whatever. Just do it consistently. Just string together days and days in a row of that. And it'll be life-changing in the long run. Yeah. Okay, end rant.
I love it. There's a real passion there. You can hear it.
Yeah, I mean, because it works. Like it does. And I know, I get that there are people who are in a much more challenging situation than I am. You've got kids, like I said, you're older, you got a lot, health issues working against you, stuff like that. But we can still control certain things. I know it's harder, right? Some people have it, much harder than I do, for example. But I really encourage people to try to go like 1 month. Go 1 month where you do 3 simple changes to, so whether it's a movement goal, say, okay, I'm going to go outside for a 10-minute walk every day. A 10-minute walk if you're totally sedentary. That can be number 1. Number 2, I'm going to eat, only whole foods or as many whole foods as possible. Okay. And number 3, I'm going to try to get to bed at the same time every night and make it a little bit earlier than I go to bed right now. Like the domino effect from that. It's just, it's massive. You'll get done with a month and you'd be like, wow, I just feel better.
It's life-changing.
Yeah.
And they're all easy, actionable tasks. All of these things are right in front of us that we can do. These are our decisions to make. We say, I can't go to bed at this time. let's look back, take a step back. Is that actually true? So we're going to challenge all of you watching to say, is that actually the case, or am I making an excuse for myself because it's more comfortable to do the same thing I'm doing?
Yeah.
Because I don't like the unfamiliar. I don't like change.
Yeah.
Join the club. It's true. We get to choose our difficult. We can choose cushy and easy for now and difficult later, or we can choose difficult things now and have those benefits tenfold down the line. But this is all going to have a massive effect on our overall quality of life. Maybe this year, maybe in 5 years, definitely in 10, 20, or even 30 years from now by setting those standards and changing the way we think about those things. As you're talking through those, a term kind of came in my head, the habit change effect. So, we adjust one thing, this domino effect.
Yep.
I'm going to go to bed on time. That means I'm going to wake up and feel a little bit better. And then I'm going to okay, I feel pretty good. I'm definitely going to hit that workout. Then I can work out really hard. And then I worked out really hard and want to go eat something good to help replace the energy I just put out. And then I'm tired from my workout. So now I'm going to go to bed earlier. This is what's called a positive feedback loop.
Right. Yep.
And it works the other way as well.
Yep.
So think about just the one thing that's like, I can do that. That's a little challenging, but I'm open to it. That's in my wheelhouse. I can do that. I can challenge myself to that for 7, 14, 28 days. Get someone to hold you accountable. Do it.
Yeah.
Write it down, track it, keep it in front of you. If you can do that and slowly add these things and stack those habits on, you're going to have a dramatically different lifestyle and dramatically improve your health and fitness over the course of years to come.
Yeah. Yeah, the domino effect really is massive. The domino effect, the positive feedback loop. I really want to hammer that point home. And there goes our makeshift, what do you call this thing? Acoustic panel?
It's an acoustic blankie.
Yeah. Acoustic blankie.
The duct tape.
I guess we're almost out of time, and it sucks too because I'm not even going to roast Coach Blake in this because it didn't come up naturally. You know what I mean? It has to come up naturally if I'm going to roast Coach Blake.
It'll present itself very soon.
I know.
This was a heavy topic we tried.
Yeah.
We tried to cover well, and I think we tried to answer such a big question.
Yeah.
And we kind of got out so big, but coming back in, it really is. Let's focus on those three foundational layers, those three rocks, if you will. Keep it simple. Because if we start asking ourselves these questions all the time, we're going to get inundated, confused, frustrated, and we're never going to see that lasting change. So, pick one thing. We'll do an entire episode on our habit dial that we talk about, how we can start with that 10-minute walk, and then where does it go from there so we can progress and get to a standard that we would find is acceptable and appropriate for your goals.
Habits are everything, really. And I really do want to reiterate, just in my own health and fitness journey, how important it's been to just, do really starting about 6 or 7 years ago, just getting better habits around the way I eat, then eventually better habits around the way I exercised, eventually better habits around the way I sleep. Like, it really does have that positive feedback loop. And I know that people are at very different stages of life, for example, than, me and Phil are at, but we can always make a difference. Like, we can always do something to improve from where we're at. This one feels so deep and emotional as opposed to fun, this whole episode.
It's really interesting how that played out. Hey, we're learning too. Well, we appreciate everyone listening.
Yeah.
And yes, stay tuned. We'll see you guys next week. As always, you want to learn more about what we do, go to sodafitness.com and read Sean's bio.
You know what? Okay, now we can roast Coach Blake. He doesn't even have a bio. This is roasting you, not him. He doesn't even have a bio up on the website, okay?
Blake.
He's like the freaking biomechanics genius of the whole gym, and you didn't even give him a bio. I'm promoting you, Coach Blake. We got to get Coach Blake on here. I'm pointing right at the camera right now, saying we got to get Coach Blake on here with have me and him nerd out on the nerdiest fitness episode. It'd be like the vastest lateralis hypertrophy show or something like that,
That's
where me and Blake go way deep, right?
Yeah, I like that.
Wow.
I like
so
that.
much fun.
Yeah, I dropped the ball. Blake started working here. I asked for his bio.
Where's his bio?
On the website. It's up there now. Katie took care of it.
Is it?
Because I dropped the ball. And one of our clients,
see this.
we had a client sign up. And I said, you're going to be with Blake. He's a great dude. Here's a link to all of our coach bios. And she said,
Googling this right now.
Where is he on there? And she Googled his name. And she found some weird trainer named Blake in Minneapolis.
Okay.
And she was like, is this him? And I was like, no. I So I totally screwed up.
Hold on though. I still don't know about this.
You see it?
There's Phil. There's Phil's 2014 picture when he was already
as long
bald.
as I'm up there.
Let's see.
Don't you tell me his picture's not there. He's there. Tap that.
Finally.
Tap that cherub face of his. You see?
There he is. His favorite food is pizza. Well, that's worth some shit talking.
Okay.
Oh man, it's a shame that we got to go now. Wow.
You know what else? Yeah, there's a bunch of. What else does he
movement.
say?
Oh no, we got 2 more minutes. We can.
What is his favorite movement?
We got time to talk shit about Blake a little bit. Favorite movement: front foot elevated Smith machine split squats. Where's the Smith machine in here, Phil? No wonder Blake doesn't work out in here.
How many words are in that exercise?
Favorite place to travel: Europe. Jeez, I didn't think he'd ever been out of Glencoe. Nice. All right, hobbies: hunting, fishing. This is hilarious. Just reading Blake's bio. Hunting, fishing, disc golf because he can't play real golf. He's probably not good enough. Continuing education in fitness and strength training. Certifications, every one you've ever heard of. Way too many. Favorite quote: never take criticism from someone you would never take advice from. Well, I do criticize him sometimes. So I don't know. We'll see if...
I think he trusts you. You guys are cute. You're his mentor. That's a little scary. It's a little scary.
Well, we should probably stop now.
That I think we have to end on that. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you guys next week with a way more well put together piece of content. Peace and love. All right.
Peace and love.
All right.